All right, so we have here, throughout your shift, which is 19 to 0700, you recorded the following intake and output for your patient. So what is our total amount for intake?
2450 milliliters.
Anybody else get anything different? 1360? 1460? Okay. This is the time, if you got something different and it's wrong, this is the time to find out. We can go over it. Okay? Alright, the total amount is 2450. Alright? So let's go over this. We've got Jevity at 50 milliliters an hour from 8 p.m. to 0600. That is how many hours? 10 hours. So that means 50 times 10 is 500. Oh, now it's not going to let me do it? Oh. There we go. All right, then we have at 6:15, 50 milliliters of free water flush. That's just 50. 2 units of PRBCs, packed red blood cells. That means that they had a blood transfusion.
500
Okay.
milliliters.
We have 2 of those. Each of them were 250, so that total
500
is 500.
milliliters.
A 20 milliliter IV flush, that counts. Zosyn, an IV piggyback of 50 milliliters. A 10 milliliter IV flush.
10.
Then we have IV fluid, that's what IVF stands for. We have heparin going at 10 milliliters an hour for 12 hours. So that's how much?
120.
120. And then we have NSS, which is normal saline solution at 100 milliliters an hour.
1200.
And that's going to be 1200. For a total of 2450. Okay? Now, we also have to calculate the output, because this is going to help us to figure out if our patient is overhydrated or dehydrated. Okay? So we have an ileostomy that had 300 milliliters of fluid out, probably liquid stool. Okay? NGT suction, nasogastric tube suction of 50 milliliters. Out of the wound vac, we got 100 milliliters, and out of the urinary catheter at the end of our shift, we emptied out 1,850 milliliters for a whopping total of
2300.
2,300. So that should be here, and that should be there. Okay? So given that, is our patient adequately hydrated?
Yes. A little.
They are a smidge over of 150. Not a huge deal. Would I keep an eye on the patient? Yes, depending on what's going on. Because where is water or fluid going to shift first if they're overhydrated? Where? The lungs. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Don't let me. No, I don't want to. All right, now you just make a piss. Thank you. Hey, there we go. All right, so now we have on our next shift, our second of 3 shifts. We've got at 8 o'clock for this patient, they had 2 pieces of toast, 2 cups of oatmeal, 8 ounces of yogurt, 12 ounces of orange juice, and 2 ounces of grits. How much fluid did they take?
1140.
Actually, the yogurt does not count as a liquid.
It's a full liquid diet.
It's a full liquid diet, but it does not count as a liquid. Yeah.
The yogurt does not count.
The yogurt does not count as a liquid. Okay?
So
If it's in a liquid state at room temperature, then it counts as a liquid.
So it's 900.
So the only thing on that whole time frame that's going to be calculated is the orange juice. So we should have 360. Okay?
Okay.
Now we have over here at 10 o'clock, the person had 2 8 ounces of coffee, so 2 cups of coffee, with 2 ounces of cream in each. So that's a total of how many ounces?
600.
Ounces, not milliliters.
Oh, 10. No.
Fuck, I messed up.
They had
20.
20.
Thank you. Oh, look, they had an 8-ounce coffee with 2 ounces of cream, and then they had another 8-ounce coffee with 2 ounces of cream. So that's 20 milliliters or
600.
600 milliliters. Excuse me. So it's, yeah, 20 ounces. No. Then we have 24 ounces of ice chips.
720 milliliters.
No, it would not be 720. Remember what we said at the
Oh, it's
beginning?
half.
It's half for the ice.
360. Okay.
So because then we have the 12, we can decrease that by half, which would be
300.
24. Half of that is 12 times 30 is
360.
360. Okay. Now we've got an infusion of Zosyn, 50 milliliters again, 2 milliliters of an IV push Zofran, and 10 milliliters of saline. How much is that? 62. Now this is a fun one. We have a house salad for lunch, a 12-ounce soda, and 3 12-ounce popsicles.
Do you put those in half if it's considered as ice or not?
Popsicles are not counted as ice.
Okay.
They are they are a frozen liquid.
That was my question. I was like, I don't know how to answer that.
Yep, so we don't have to half that. So it would be 48 ounces total, because we had 3 12-ounce popsicles plus the 12-ounce soda. So then 48 times 30 would be 1440. Then we have another packed cells of 250. That's pretty good there. We have another 2 milliliters of morphine and a 10 milliliter saline flush. So that's how much? 12. And we have another 10 milliliters of a saline flush. And then this whole from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. they had a normal saline drip going at 100 milliliters an hour.
300.
300. You don't go from 16, you go 17 because that's the first hour. 18, 19. So then that's 3 plus the 10 plus the 300, and we get what?
3070.
That's what I don't know.
3000.
Ooh,
3644.
360 plus 600
Oh.
plus 360.
should get 330.94.
Hold on. 10 plus 300. I got 3070. Where did I screw up? That 360 on the first one, 600 on the second one, 360 on the ice, 62 on here, 1440, 260.
You only did 180 here, that
Oh,
should
no,
be
I-
360. Or, yeah, because it's 3,
ice
so
popsicle.
36 times the 30.
But you got 1440 as well. I don't know how I calculated it, but I got
Okay. And then, let's see, 1 pack, 250, 12,
10.
and then 300.
Let me add it again.
Yeah, I still got 3644.
What did you get for the 8 o'clock? 360?
Yeah.
Then 600?
Yeah.
360 again?
Yeah.
62?
Yeah.
1440?
Yeah.
250?
For the 14. 500?
No, that one's 1 pack.
Oh, 1.
250?
That's what I went.
12 mLs?
Yeah. 12,
10,
10,
and then 300.
Yeah.
That's, I got 3070.
Yeah. Added it right back.
They're not trick questions. They're application questions.
I only did it once.
600.
Oh. Now I got the right answer.
Where'd you get?
Ooh!
So he got 3394.
How did you get that?
Which
Which one did I get?
That I don't know.
Let me see. Minus.
All right. So now, our patient's output for that same time frame was 2,025 milliliters during the 12-hour shift. based on that patient's intake and the output, what is your patient at risk of developing?
Pulmonary edema.
Yeah, because if you were to take this and minus the 2025,
1,360.
yep, they're gonna be over a liter of fluid in their body somewhere, and it's gonna run into the lungs eventually. Okay, so you would want, how would you find out that your patient's having that issue though?
Oh, I got
Other
that.
than just looking at the math, when you went in to look at your patient, and you did your nurse process or anything along those lines, clinical judgment model, however you want to put it,
Let's go to oxygenation.
you would more than likely hear the crackles and stuff because of the wetness in the lungs. Okay. All right, let's do that last one here. Oh,
Oh my god.
this is nothing, guys. This is just one patient.
MJ, can you hand me my paper?
Oh, no, you just stepped on it. I heard you said it had-
Multiply this by 5 or 6 for your patients that you have to take care of. All
Did I
right.
put my big footprint on it?
Now we have, it's our last shift of the week. It's Friday. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Okay. It is Friday. See, I wrote this for you guys. Your patient had the following intake and output for your shifts. Lots of stuff here. So, at 8 o'clock, we had 8 ounces of orange juice, 6 ounces of yogurt, a slice of bread, and a 10 milliliter flush. How much fluid did they get?
No, sorry.
10, 16.
Who said it? 250 milliliters. Yogurt does not count as a liquid.
So it would just be the orange juice and the flush.
Correct.
So it's 18. Oh, no, hold on.
No, it would be
No, no.
18.
8. Okay. Did you write the answer down?
I did not.
240. 250?
250.
Okay.
All right, then we had an 8-ounce coffee with an ounce of cream,
270.
so 270. Then at lunch at 12 o'clock, we had a 12-ounce soda, 2 12-ounce cherry popsicles, 3 ounces of chocolate pudding, and 4 ounces of chicken broth.
And I'm assuming the pudding doesn't count either?
Correct. It is not a liquid.
So 1200.
Well, we've got the 12-ounce soda, 2 12-ounce cherry popsicles, so that's 36 ounces, plus the 4 ounces there, so yes, 40 ounces. 40 times 30 is 200. Oh, no, wait,
1200.
1,200, thank you.
It's okay, I didn't know basic math a little bit ago.
Hey, it's all good. I'm only on my first cup of coffee. I should tell you, I am not firing on all 6 cylinders yet. All right, 1 o'clock, we had a half a soda at 6 ounces and another 12 ounces of custard.
540.
Custard doesn't count.
Oh,
Custard
custard.
doesn't count.
So 180.
Should be 180, yep, for the 6 ounces of soda. Then we had 8 ounces of ice chips,
120.
120. And then from 2 to 7 o'clock that afternoon, they had an IV infusion going at 50 milliliters an hour.
250.
250.
So, I'm sorry, I
You're fine.
did not hear the first one. For the 8-ounce orange juice and the 10 milliliter flush, it was how many?
250 milliliters.
How? If you
8
take the-
times 3, or times 30 is 240 plus 10.
Oh, because it's a milliliters.
Mhm.
Thank you. I was like, what am I missing?
All right, so what did we get for our total there?
2270.
2270. All right, now, over here under output, we have 500 milliliters of urine, 100 milliliters of emesis, or vomitus, you might hear it referred to. Liquid stool of 350 milliliters. We had some wound vac drainage at 200. At 1 o'clock, we had another 250 of urine. At 1500, we had JP drainage of 400 milliliters. At 5, we had 350 milliliters of urine. At 5:30, another 400. The Lasix must have kicked in. And then at 6 o'clock, another 350 of urine. And then at 6:30, boy, they're pushing it all the way to the end of the shift, aren't they? A little bit more ileostomy stool of 400, and then another 500 at 6:45.
3,800.
3,800. So given that, for the second part of this on your calculations, what is your patient at risk for? Dehydration. They're putting out more fluid than they're taking in. Okay. How'd y'all do? Pretty good?
I missed all the yogurt
About
stuff.
popsicles, I assumed they were the same as ice.
No, no. And that's mainly because popsicles are pretty much solid, whereas ice, like ice chips, they have air and stuff incorporated into them. So that's why they only are half.
Never even heard of ice chips.
Really?
What are those?
The best way I can equate it to you is, you've ever been to Sonic?
Oh,
Yeah.
You know Sonic Ice? How it's nice and light and everything? Those are what we call ice chips.
So it's just ice.
Those are the
Mhm.
best.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
That's